Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Sai Satcharitra, an Insight, Episode 139. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan brother telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnuhu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Devotees, in the previous episode, we were listening to the emotional turmoil of P.R. Avasthi in coming to Shiradi for Sri Sai Baba's darshan, since he was already initiated by his Kula Guru. M.B. Rake tried to emphasize the fact that Sri Sai Baba is not a Guru but a Parama Guru, that is, Master of Masters. He is that supreme incarnation. So, having his darshan can never be considered as being disloyal to his own Guru. Rake wanted P.R. Avasthi to take the blessings of Sri Sainath. He said that Sri Sai Baba was the same spirit as the spirit in all Gurus, therefore it will be the same in that lady saint by whom he was initiated also. And added, by having darshan of Sri Sai Baba, P.R. Avasthi can understand this himself. Still, P.R. Avasthi was not completely convinced. Next day, Sri Radhakrishna Mai took few jasmine flowers and made a small garland of it, gave it in the hands of P.R. Avasthi and said, "Take this to my master and submit it. Ask him to unravel the knots in this." Neither P.R. Avasthi nor M.B. Rake could comprehend this. Sri Radhakrishna Mai at times had such subtle conversations with Sri Sai Baba. This incident is also considered as one of those sorts. When this garland was submitted, Sri Sai Maharaj smelled those flowers and said that the knots had to be untied at the shala. Sri Radhakrishna Mai was a yogini. She could bring her whole body under her control. She had mastery over various yoga practices. She possessed many divine powers. Some devotees approached Sri Sai Maharaj and asked what kind of Rinan Bandh Sri Sai Maharaj has with Sri Radhakrishna Mai. Sri Sai spoke thus, "The connection that me and Mai have is very intimate, but it is not a bodily connection. So, devotees, the relationship between Sri Sai Maharaj and Sri Radhakrishna Mai was orderly. It could be as that of a guru and disciple relationship, or even higher than that." The actual name of Sri Radhakrishna Mai was Sundari Bai Shirsagar. She was a young widow and was brought to the holy soil of Shiradi by Nana Sahib Chandorkar. She wore a white sari and would always cover her head when she had to come to Dwarakamai. She had great regard for Sri Sai Maharaj and would hardly speak to Sri Sai Baba face to face. She was a devotee of the highest order in Madhura Bhakti, says Dashganu Maharaj. She would clean the walls of the masjid as they would have turned black owing to the incessant burning of the duni, and whitewash every alternate day when Sri Sai Maharaj went to sleep in the Chavadi. This she did in Sri Sai Baba's absence. Before Sri Radhakrishna Mai passed away, once she came and stood in the presence of Sri Sai Baba made some hand gestures, walked out of the masjid and left her body. This incident was later quoted by Sri Sai Maharaj to M.B. Reg thus, "She is your mother and my mother too. One day she came to me and asked me to relieve her from the karma. I assured her and she was at ease. Though no conversations took place among Sri Sai Baba and Mother, their thoughts synchronized well. We Sai devotees address each other as Sai Ram, and this name is so common and popular among the devotees. For this, we must be grateful to Sri Radhakrishna Mai and M.B. Reg, as it was they who gave this holy mantra to us. Let us see how this fructified. M.B. Reg loved Radhakrishna Ai as his own mother, and she also had the same love towards him as that of her own son. Once he went to Ai and conveyed his desire to do some spiritual practice like chanting the Lord's name or singing bhajans. They both decided to do Nam Jap. Until then, chanting Sri Sai Baba's name incessantly had not been done by the devotees, though Arati was in practice. There was reputation of chanting Lord Sri Rama's name or Lord Vittala's name by the devotees. So now, when it came to chanting Lord's name, Sri Radhakrishna Ai said, "As Sri Sai Baba is my Lord, it is enough if we chant his name ceaselessly." Saying so, she began to chant the name Sai by combining it with Ram, as Sri Sai Baba was considered as an incarnation of Lord Rama. Thus, the mother gave the name Japa Sai Ram and Reg joined her meticulously. They both kept chanting the name Sai Ram ceaselessly to their heart's content. Later that day, when Reg went to Sri Sai Baba, Baba asked, "What were you doing in the morning at the Shala?" Reg said, "I was doing Nam Japa." Baba, "Japa? Of what name?" Reg, "Of my God." Baba, "Who is your God?" Reg, "You know it." Baba, "That's all right." Sri Sai Maharaj doesn't need any such clarifications from Reg. He is a Sarvantaryami, that is omniscient. He knew everything. But Sri Sai Baba asked these vital questions to confirm Reg that he has approved whatever has been done by them and is appropriate for chanting, so can be a part of the spiritual practice of an aspirant. Thus, the partnership of Reg and Radhakrishna Mai had put forward many spiritual practices and streamlined the activities for the Sai devotees, for which we all are always indebted to both. Mother's views about Sri Sai Baba were that he must be regarded as the Lord in Pandharpur, in Tirupati and at Mathura. Her tireless efforts have given rise to a Sansthan at Shirdi, as she desired to see Sri Sai Baba not as a fakir but as a Maharaj. She was in Shirdi at the service of Sri Sai Baba only for a short span of 20 years. Moreover, she was very young and just 37 years old when she passed away. Her services are far excellent, though Sri Sai Maharaj never cared a fig for all this paraphernalia. The Mathura Bhakti that Sri Radhakrishna Ai had for Sri Sai Baba made her collect all valuable items from affluent devotees. She wished to adorn him with good clothes, decorate with a beautiful crown, and use silver articles for performing his puja rituals. She could not accept Sri Sai Baba being treated as a human being or a fakir. She realized him to be the Paramatma, thus she had high esteem for Sri Sai Baba and expected everyone to show the same reverence to her God. She diligently sowed the seed of thought in the mind of every devotee that visited Shirdi for Sri Sai Baba's darshan. That seed grew into a huge banyan tree and is now established as Sri Sai Baba Sansthan. Getting back to the original thread, P.R. Avasthi now was handed over a jasmine garland to offer it to Sri Sai Baba by Radha Krishna Mai, and meanwhile a thought flashed in the mind of P.R. Avasthi. He made a small ball, pindam of rice out of the food offering unknown to Rag or Radha Krishna Mai, and thought in his mind that if Sri Sai Baba would accept this small ball of rice offering, then he would conclude that his Guru is no more and will accept Sri Sainath Maharaj as Guru, as this will not be considered as treachery to his Guru. When Avasthi took that day's Naivedyam to Dwarakamai, this pindam he kept in his hand but under the plate. Rag also accompanied him, but neither he noticed this pindam in Avasthi's hand nor Avasthi disclosed this to him. Sri Sai Baba stretched his hand and said, "Give it to me." When Avasthi gave the pindam, he smelt it and said, "It has reached its place." So, this is an indication given by Sri Sai Baba to P.R. Avasthi that his Guru is not in her mortal coil anymore. Now, Avasthi's emotional turmoil came to an end, and he could wholeheartedly serve Sri Sai Baba without any hesitation. Rag and Avasthi returned to Radha Krishna Ai's home, and as soon as they both stepped at the entrance of mother's home, Sri Avasthi behaved in a very strange way. He ran towards mother and fell at her feet, singing spontaneous verses for about half an hour, oblivious of what was happening around him. And mother was also in trance all the time. Ray couldn't comprehend the reason. Later, he inquired him about the pindam that he handed over to Sri Sai and the reason of his strange behavior at Sri Radha Krishna Ai's house. Now P.R. Avasthi told him that the pindam was a test he kept to get an answer from Sri Sai about the existence of his Kula Guru, and he thought if Sri Sai Baba accepted the pindam, then that indicates that his Guru is not in her body, and which was proved by Sri Sai Maharaj by accepting the pindam. Now he continued to explain the reason of his weird actions at the Shala thus. The moment I entered the home in the place of Sri Radha Krishna Ai, I saw my lady saint who gave me initiation long back. Thus, I became unaware of the surroundings. Devotees, please listen to this attentively. While sending the jasmine garland with Purushottam or Avasthi, mother told him to ask Sri Sai Baba to release the knots, whereas Sri Sai responded to it by saying that it will be untied by mother at the Shala. Now I am sure all of you must have understood the subtle communication that took place between the mother and Sri Sai. The words untying the knots represent that the mother sought Sri Sai's guidance and approval about revealing herself as the Guru of P.R. Avasthi, and Sri Sai directed that this Leela can be transpired at her residence. None told the mother the details of P.R. Avasthi's Kulaguru, nor she knew anything about her. This subject is beyond the contemplation of the human mind. Can any ordinary person make P.R. Avasthi to see his Kulaguru in them? No, it is impossible. Only the one who has gained divine powers from their spiritual practices or a yogini can do this. Thus, this underscores the great powers acquired by the Divine Mother Sri Radhakrishna Ai. Though she had gained some powers, she never used them at her will, instead did as per the command of her Lord Sri Sai Baba. That too only after Sri Sai consented her to appear in the form of P.R. Avasthi's Guru. She took that form to give mental peace and satisfaction to him. This is another testimony to her complete surrender. She always acted to the command of her God, Sri Sai Maharaj. M.B. Reg, though has experienced some miracles of Sri Radhakrishna Mai, he was awestruck to listen to the declaration made by P.R. Avasthi. Listeners, this was not only feasible for the Divine Mother, but even few other ardent devotees of Sri Sai Maharaj possessed certain powers which they gained by their spiritual practices and by serving their Guru Sri Sai Baba diligently. Yet, they surrendered their powers to Sri Sai Baba and exhibited as directed by their Guru. If a devotee of Sri Sai possesses such great powers, then the supreme powers of the God, Sri Sai Baba, is certainly unfathomable. We have listened in the previous episodes that at various instances, many gurus who have gained fame far and wide have been considered as perfect masters have declared to their devotees that they regard Sri Sai Maharaj as the master of masters, as he is more powerful than them, and hence directed them to worship him alone. Another guru told a devotee of Sri Sai by name Sagun Meru Nayak that you have come from a Mota Darbar, means the greatest kingdom of the master, which implies that your guru is the greatest of the greatest, so you don't have to come here for darshan. Devotees, the glory of Sri Sai Maharaj and his powers are inscrutable by us. Hence, this beautiful miracle unfolds the divine sport of Sri Sai Maharaj in accepting P.R. Avasthi as his devotee and assuring him about the non-existence of the physical form of his Kulaguru. There is another mind-boggling miracle connected with P.R. Avasthi and Sri Radhakrishna Ai. Let me also give a briefing on this. Divine Mother attained Samadhi during November 1917. This sad news was conveyed to Reg and Avasthi through letters. Both were shocked and devastated hearing this news, as they considered Mother as their own Guru, and Reg had more intimate bondage with Mother, as the relationship between them was that of a mother and a son. In the year 1918, during the month of May, P.R. Avasthi came to Shirdi for Sri Sai Baba's darshan with his family. As soon as he came to Shirdi, he directly walked towards Mother's house, as that was the usual practice, totally forgetting that Mother has left her body. His mind still believed that she was alive, so he went to the house along with two other ladies from his family who accompanied him for darshan. They placed their bags, had bath, and were about to go for Sri Sai Baba's darshan. They also need to cook their food, as in those days there were no restaurants other than the small food stall run by a devotee by name Sagun Meru Nayak. These ladies tried to lit the stove to prepare food. Though they made many attempts, they did not succeed in lighting the stove. This house of Sri Radhakrishna Ai was small, but it had a raised platform, and one had to come down this platform to get to the kitchen. Wonder of wonder, P.R. Avasthi saw the mother walking down from that platform. Isn't this unbelievable? The mother who left the body 6 months ago came to help these ladies to light the stove, placed a vessel on top of the stove, and directed them to cook. At that moment, Avasthi and his family members didn't realize that they got the Sakshatkar of the mother. Isn't this incredible? When he casually mentioned this incident to the other Shirdi villagers, they were awestruck to hear it and said that this is impossible as mother has attained Mahasamadhi last November itself. That's when P.R. Avasthi came to his right mind and recalled the letter he received about her passing away and wondered at the divine appearance of mother at her house. Devotees, I have narrated this Leela here to emphasize the fact that the divine powers possessed by Sri Radhakrishna Ai was remarkable that she could appear in a bodily form even after her passing away. This portrays the divine qualities of the mother. These Leelas are intriguing and astounding too. Listeners, we were heeding to Sri Sai Satcharitra, chapter 26, in which Hemat Panji was narrating the plight of Bhakta Pant, who was desireless to have Sri Sainath's Maharaj despite the persuasion of his friends and close family members, as he thought having the darshan of Sri Sai Baba would result in betrayal of his guru as he was still alive. This thought is very intense and thought-provoking, hence I felt the need to quote the instances from the life of P.R. Avasthi. Now let us listen about Bhakta Pant. He had to go to Virar on some business, so he boarded the train at a station to reach Virar. And to his utter surprise, he found many of his friends and relatives in the train who have decided to go to Shirdi. Among them were his daughters-in-laws. They persuaded him to join them to Shirdi. Pant was not completely convinced about this trip, but his relatives forced him to accompany them, so with a perturbed mind he agreed. By then, the train stopped at Virar station while the others continued their journey to Mumbai. He alighted at Virar to seek the permission of his Kula Guru, also borrowed some money from his friends and then proceeded to Mumbai to go to Shirdi. Thus, he was drawn forcibly by Sri Sai Maharaj to Shirdi. What reception he got in Shirdi and what miracles did he experience, they are very interesting and we shall listen to those in the coming episode. Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.